All right, I'm Mike Willis. We're here with another Team USA Tuesday. I'm with the champ, Jacarra Winchester, 55 kilograms world champion. Jacarra, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, enjoying life. Thanks for taking some time today. I'm sure a lot of people are curious what you've been up to, how you're doing right now. So, you ready to get into it?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Throwing you some easy ones to start. What is your favorite book?
So I don't read a lot, but I do listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm working out. So there's like a series of books. It's called The Cartel. It's about like drug lords and violence and stuff like that. But it gets me going. It keeps me running. So I like those are my favorite books, The Cartels.
Gotcha. Um, what cartels do they focus on?
Well, I can't give away the storyline. Then nobody's gonna want to read it. But it's just basically like it's like American cartels. So like none of the really like sometimes they go like to Mexico and stuff and trade stuff there, but that's all I'm gonna have to give you on that because if I tell you then it's gonna blow away the whole series.
All right. What is your favorite restaurant?
So usually my favorite restaurant is Buffalo Wild Wings, but lately they've been messing up on my orders. So my new favorite restaurant is I've only ate there once. It was in Texas. It was Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I don't really like steak, but they had the best steak ever. So that is my favorite restaurant now.
Do you remember what kind of cut you got?
I think it was like a weird cut because I told somebody and they were like, "What? That's not a cut." It was like a bone-in filet mignon or rib. I don't know, but it was like 15 ounces of goodness and it was delicious. If I look on the menu, I'll be able to tell. But it was like it was a weird steak because whenever I tell other people it, they're like, "That's not a steak cut," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I had it, so."
Yeah, bone and ribeye is actually my favorite cut. So if you got
So
one of
good.
those, that's good eating.
Yes, they're so good.
So travel's halted at the moment, but when it starts up again, what would be your ideal vacation spot?
So I've never been on a vacation like myself. Like I usually like go wrestling and stuff like that. And even we were at like Italy, I didn't go to the beach and stuff. I didn't go like out to explore because I'm like, I got a job to do, I'm like focused on work. So I've never been on a vacation. So I would like somewhere tropical. Like I'm thinking Hawaii and somewhere I can see like turtles and feed turtles. There was this place in like Africa, I think it was like South Africa, where they had like a sanctuary where you can like feed turtles. But if I could just go to Hawaii, I'd be good with that too.
Very cool. Are you into animals in general, or is it just like a turtle thing?
No, I'm into like all animals. I am an extreme animal lover. And if I see somebody like beating their dog, I'm like, hey, something like that, like I'm all for animals, any type of animals. I just feel like they're just so innocent, like they love you unconditionally. If you're going to just slap the crap out of your animal like that, it's like, I get discipline in your animal, but there's certain ways to do stuff. I'm not PETA, don't worry. Like, I'm not going to be like, is that fur? Like, I'm not going to do that, but I love animals.
Do you have any
Yeah,
pets?
actually, well, not here with me. They're in California, but I have a Saint Bernard and English Mastiff mix. His name is Charlie. He's absolutely fabulous. He's 7 years old, and he thinks he's a lap dog. He weighs 205 pounds, and like when he stands up on his feet, he's like 6 foot. So he drools a lot. So I crochet him bibs and stuff, and then I have a kitty cat named Mr. Kitty.
What's your cat's name?
Mr. Kitty. He's a fancy man, so he
Very
needed a
nice.
fancy name.
Does he get along with the dog?
Yeah, actually, so I had Mr. Kitty. I had Mr. Kitty first, and I got him because when I lived in Missouri, I had a mouse in my house, and I was like, I can't kill any animals, but if I get another animal and they do it, then it's out of my hands. That's just the circle of life. So I got Mr. Kitty from this like no-kill animal shelter, and I brought him in my house, and he literally just sat there with the mouse. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you know, but so he's not a killer. So he's just a super chill cat, and he just lays with Charlie. Like, he'll cuddle with him and stuff like that. Like, he's just a super cool guy.
That is very cool. Always nice to see animal camaraderie between species that kind of don't get.
Yes.
Next question. Favorite professional athlete outside of wrestling?
So this is actually funny that you asked me this, because I literally watch no other sport besides wrestling, and I barely watch wrestling unless it's filmed for myself. I'm not really a big sports person, which might sound horrible because I'm like, yeah, Olympics, but I'm like, I don't care about a lot of stuff in life, so I don't have a favorite athlete outside of wrestling because I don't watch sports, so that's it.
Fair enough. If somebody like glued your eyes to the TV, like made you watch a sport and you had to pick one, what would it be?
I would pick gymnastics because I think that's also like a super dangerous sport, and it's like, I just like seeing all the tumbling and flips, so it would have to be gymnastics.
Yeah, I think that's a sport too that actually translates pretty well to wrestling in terms of like what sports benefit each other. I know, Mark Schultz was a really, really high level gymnast before he got into wrestling, and high level gymnast.
Wow.
Yep. Next question. I know you said that you are a fan of video games. What video game is your favorite?
So I have 3 favorite video games. So I play Xbox, and if you're looking for like a good story mode, I would say Tomb Raider, because I grew up like my whole life playing Tomb Raider and stuff like that, but now they're just outrageously good. And then I also like fighting games, so I like Mortal Kombat, and I like Injustice. Those are my 2 other favorite games. And UFC. I play UFC, but that game's kind of hard and it pisses me off. So I usually stick to the other ones.
Who is your go-to character in Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat, I would probably say, I kind of switch around. Anybody who's a sorcerer and can like hit you from far away, I pick, because I run like to the end of the screen and then do all that stuff. So anybody that you can really just like, you don't have to do like close-up combat with, because I'm not gonna lie, people be piecing me up if they're just like fighting straight on. Like, I can't have that, so I run to the overside. I got my tactics and it works for me.
Yeah, fighting makes sense to me. So kind of a question with this one, but what is your biggest fear?
So, okay, this is probably super weird, but so I was born without a sense of smell, so I can't smell anything. So my biggest fear is having a gas stove and having the gas on and me not knowing, which actually have happened to me. It's but the ending part hasn't happened, and like me not knowing and me just blowing up or burning to death in a fire. But in my house in Missouri, I had a gas stove, and my dog, he's a huge dog, so like when he walks around, he bumps stuff. And he bumped the stove, actually, and it, before it starts making like the tick, tick, tick sound and lights the fire, it, I guess, was seeping out gas, and I didn't know. And my boyfriend at the time like came home, and he was like, me and my dog were just all laid out on the couch like, and he was like, "What, do you not smell that? Like, what is that? Like, open a window or something." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I looked over at my dog. He like laid out too. So it was close to happening, but it didn't. He didn't like turn on the light or like light anything. So we were good. But that is my biggest fear.
That's a very unique fear, but in your case, it seems perfectly reasonable to have.
Yes, yeah.
Not having a sense of smell is pretty unique.
It's kind of scary.
I mean, I know are kind of tied together, but obviously, if you like Buffalo Wild Wings, you and Ruth Chris, you have a sense of taste. Like, do you know if it's like altered compared to a normal person, or like you don't know? That's just really interesting.
Yeah, they say, which I don't believe, but they say I taste like if you were to taste with a cold, like it's kind of bland or whatever. Like if I eat rice, unseasoned chicken, or anything unseasoned, everything tastes exactly the same to me. Like chicken, rice, like anything. I eat ranch with every single meal because it's delicious. So even with like my wings and my steak, I put ranch on everything. My mac and cheese. I think only thing I don't put ranch on is like soup, depending on the soup. But sometimes I probably will put ranch in that. So yeah.
What soup gets the ranch dressing treatment? I'm really curious.
I don't really eat soup, but I would probably, if tomato soup was nasty, just to spruce it up, probably put it in there. I would not put it in chicken noodle soup. That's just disgusting. Clam chowder is already kind of soupy, so I wouldn't put it in there. So probably like tomato or chili. I for sure would use ranch and chili.
Oh man, I'm having some problems coming to grips with that. I feel like
sour cream too, sour cream and ranch. It would be good.
Real issues. I don't want ranch in my tomato soup. And no, teach their own. No, I'm thinking about it. You put a little sour cream, some cheese. I guess I.
Well, you haven't lived until you tried ranch in your tomato soup.
All right, folks, you heard that. Jacarra Winchester wants everybody to try ranch in their tomato soup. Next new sensation sweeping the country. God help us. So you plan to pursue a career in fitness modeling once you're done wrestling. Do you see yourself coaching at all, or do you think you're going to go all in on that?
So for me, as of right now, I'm going to say no. I don't see myself coaching because I don't like, for one, it's just so frustrating. And you spend your time on somebody, and if it's like middle school or high school or college, people are on the team and they don't take it seriously, And if I was to coach, it would probably have to be at the Olympic Training Center because everybody wants to be great there, right? Well, most people want to be great. Some people are just here for the opportunity to say that they train here. But when you give time to something, you want to see it do well, right? And if somebody's not taking it serious, you're basically just wasting your time. And I wouldn't say I'm impatient, but my time is valuable. So I just wouldn't do it. And I started wrestling my junior year of college, so I don't really have the connection that a lot of people have with it. They wrestled since they were 4 years old or middle school, so they have it they always wanted to be a part of their life. They're like, this is what I'm comfortable with. I would like to continue doing it. I absolutely love it, and I don't love anything that much besides animals to want to continue to have it in my life forever. So I just set a time period, and I'm like, all right, I'm going all in on this, and I want to be a world champion. I want to be an Olympic champion, and those are my goals for it. So I stick to that, and then I'm done with it. Then I want to have another goal for myself. So I don't want it to be an everlasting goal.
That's a really interesting perspective, and probably not one you'd hear from too many world champion caliber athletes. Have other people before that's not something that most people would say? Probably.
People always think I'm crazy. They're like, what? My friend Lauren, she, because sometimes I coach her and stuff, and whenever I work with somebody, if you're my partner, I coach you also, because I don't want you doing the move wrong on me and hurting me. So I'm like, okay, fix this, and I tell them my perspective of wrestling, and they get a lot out of working with me, And they're like, you should be a coach, and I'm like, nah, I'm not into that now, because I feel like wrestling is just one section of my life, and I have so much more to be great at. So my theme for myself and for my life is to be the best version of myself that I can. So I want to be the best version at wrestling. Next, I want to be the best version I want to conquer the world at everything that I do.
Fair enough. Well, you're already at the pinnacle for wrestling. Again, hope we see you in the sport for a while longer. We'll miss you, but waiting to see what's next for you, given your goals. So actually, and I think kind of the last question segues into this a little bit because you already kind of touched on it, but what is your biggest pet peeve?
So actually, my biggest pet peeve is people giving me unsolicited advice, like just unwanted advice, like you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, because I think that everybody, which this is going to sound like horrible, but I treat animals with compassion because I think everybody deserves the same respect. I treat animals like I treat people because I'm like, I don't think anybody is better than anybody else. So you're not better than me to tell me how to live my life. I live my life, and the reason why I'm so successful at wrestling is because I do trial and error. You know, if you tell me something, don't do this. I'm not going to cherish that information until I have experienced it, you know, experience something wrong with it, and then I change it myself. Because then you learn from your own mistakes versus somebody telling you not to do something and then you thinking, but what happens if I did? You know, I like to live without regret, and I can only do that if I have tried something.
Fair enough. So it wasn't like you were broke onto the scene, made the team, and won the world championships. You've been grinding at this for years. You were a three-time national team member before you made your first world team in 2018. What were those years like?
Honestly, I think if I really would have focused on it, I probably could have made the world team during those years. But I was in college, and I didn't think that I would want to pursue wrestling after college. I was more focused on getting my degree in accounting and like passing my CPA test and becoming an accountant. So I wasn't really giving everything that I could to wrestling. So it was really just me just putting it on the back burner. You know, I wasn't like doing the right thing. Like I wasn't focused on my diet. Like, cause if you look at those 3 years, I made the national team at like 2 different weight classes, like 55, 58, then 55 again. And then like I wrestled at 59, I wrestled at 62. Like I was just all over the place, you know, because I was just like, oh, whatever happens, happens. I don't really care. I'm just here to get, like, this is just for fun. You know, this is just to continue to have my scholarship. I wasn't really looking for Team USA to be a world champion or Olympic champion. And once I changed that in my mind, that's when I started actually like doing well.
When did you realize that you wanted to pursue wrestling post-collegiately?
I think after I graduated. I was supposed to move to the training center, and then they gave my room away to like college girls. So I was like, forget that, I ain't doing it, I quit. I quit for like 7 months, and then I moved back to California. I worked a job in San Francisco as like a cleaning wizard or whatever. So it's like you clean, but you like are also telling other people to clean and just doing inventory. So it's not like a janitor, but kind of something close. And I was just working that job normally. And then I think like 4 months into that, I was like, you know, I don't really want to wake up at 4 a.m. anymore, and I don't really want to clean up behind other people, and I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. So I think I want to go back to wrestling. And I told my boss, I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a 2-week notice. Like, I don't want to work here anymore. And she was like, why? Like, we're going to promote you and stuff. And I was like, I want to go train for the Olympics. And she was like, what? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go train for the Olympics. And then she like laughed at me, and I was like, that's funny, you know? And then she Googled me, and she was like, oh my gosh, why are you working here? I was like, yeah, I just didn't want to do it anymore, you know? So, yeah, that's when I realized. I was like, I can do so much other stuff, you know? I'm not reaching my best potential. I'm not being the best version of myself, you know? Like, I already got the discipline down. Now I just need to have something to strive for.
Yeah, absolutely. So your first world team was 2018. What did it feel like when you punched through and made the team? I mean, after coming back to the sport.
Yeah, it was awesome because it was like all my hard work paid off, and I actually like set a goal for myself because we were in Japan for World Cup, and I was an alternate, and I'd never been to like World Cup before. And so Becca was the world team member at the time, and we both won one, we both lost one. And I honestly thought that I was the best wrestler for them to pick, but we were going up against Japan, and you want to put your best team out for Japan, right? You're not going to put somebody who you don't think is going to win. Like, if you think this person's going to lose, you're not going to put them in. If you have 2 alternates, you pick the best person. And they picked Becca to wrestle the Japanese girl. And Becca ends up getting tech, and I usually either beat this girl in practice or we split our matches 1-1, you know? And that showed me that not only did they not believe that I can beat this girl, but I haven't shown them anything to show that I can beat this girl. You know, they don't watch me in practice when I wrestle with this Japanese girl and stuff like that. So I told myself, I was like, all right, you got to go for your spot. You got to go for it now. Shock the world. Let them know what you can do. And if they don't believe in you still, oh, well, you're just going to be a world champion. So, yeah.
So, and at that World Championships, you were one overturned call away from being in the World Finals. And it was a last-second takedown that was reversed. What was that feeling like, and is that still with you?
So the feeling initially was immediately displace my blame, right? I was like, the referee knew that was my call. Like the ref, she was pulling my hair. Everything was everybody else's fault. But then I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And a month later, I realized like only way you'll be successful in anything you ever do in life is you hold yourself accountable. And I told myself, it shouldn't have came down to that call. I could have beat this girl. I beat the girl before, actually. I had beat her in Ukraine, you know? And I could have beat her 4 minutes before. I could have attacked her. I could have pinned her before, but I choose to slack and let her wrestle her match, you know? Clearly, she's going to bite me. Clearly, she's going to pull my hair because she can't beat me any other way. So you have to expect that, you know? And you can't expect the referee to win a match for you. So I told myself that was like a pivotal point. Like, they're not going to give you matches. They're not going to do this. You need to just put people away then.
Yeah. Words of advice for sure for anybody listening. Score points when you can.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, but and a really tough place to I guess have that lesson kind of solidified for yourself. But turns out it was a very good learning lesson because 2019 rolls around and you're the world champion. However, leading up to the World Championships, you had a strong season. I mean, domestically, you were pretty dominant. In international competition, you had solid results. You took third at the Pan Ams, third at the Poland Open, I think sixth at the Grand Prix of Germany. That might not indicate that, you know, you're going to go to the World Championships and bring home a gold medal. What was that year like, and what was the difference in Nur Sultan?
So for those tournaments, I was at different weight classes, right? And we have different training phases. Like you peak here, some tournaments, like I know contrary to belief, some people think that every tournament is supposed to be your best tournament, you know? Some tournaments for my schedule is a train through tournament. Like you just train through it. You just take it like as if you're going matches, you know? Like for some people to say, like, I know the question stated it wasn't really a world champion like year for you, you know? So how would you, you know? So for me, I don't think there is a world champion level. I think everybody has their days, off days and on days. That just separates the greatest people from other great people, you know? Like everybody's great in their own way. Like Tamara Mensah can win every single tournament, you know, for 3 years or 2 years, you know, just be undefeated and win world championships. Whereas as long as you show up on the day of world championships, it doesn't matter. You're only a world championship level if you win the world championship tournament, you know, which I tell myself, I don't care. I can literally come, not even make the podium at any of these tournaments. As long as I show up the day that I'm supposed to, that's all that matters. Like I could lose every single match this season and then I win the Olympics. That's the only thing they don't care about, you know? Nobody's going to tell me like, hey, Jacarra at the Poland Open. Nobody really knows about the Poland Open, you know? It's like World Championships, U.S. Open, the stuff that qualifies you to make the teams, win that, the World Championship, Olympics, and you're good. That's my view on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think not too many people are going to be able to name that you placed third at the Poland Open off the top top of their heads. I think they're going to remember that you're winning world titles. So during that tournament, I remember there was a period of time before your match. You were in a looked pretty zen place, and you had your headphones on. You said in your post-match interview you were listening to the Carpenters. That's probably not, typical pump-up music for most people. Could you talk a little bit about, why is the Carpenters, and maybe what are some of the other artists you got on your playlists? I know you're a Rihanna fan too, because that last Team USA 2 is your favorite artist.
So for me, only time I like hyped up music is when I am when we're actually doing practice and stuff. I like music to make you move or whatever. But for a tournament, after we do the warm up, I don't want to be hyped up. I'm already warmed and I trust my training. So I need to feel blank when I go out there so that I don't think about anything. I wrestle best when I'm in zombie mode, when I'm not thinking, because if I think, I'll do something wrong, versus when I'm not think. I practice my single leg probably 250 times in a day, just to get the movement, just so my body can move without thinking. So I try to bring that in my matches. So I listen to the Carpenters because it's a happy, it's Top of the World by the Carpenters, and it's da 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 da, just la 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 music, And then I have this song called Ocean Eyes by, I think her name is Billie Eilish or something like that, and it's super calming. People would probably say it's depressing, but it's it just calms me down and makes me mellow and puts me in a zombie mode, because I know that my feet are going to move already, and I want to be, I'm like a squirrel already, so I need to be calmed down. So instead of a lot of people like to jump around and stuff, I don't like to do that. I like to literally sit down like this and just move my hands like this, me fighting for inside position. I like to do this for me dragging, I do this, just slow motion to remind myself to move my arms, because I know that my legs are always going to move. I just like to be super calm and super blank so that I don't think, and trust my training so that muscle memory kicks in.
When did you figure out that was kind of your ideal warm up and your ideal state of mind to compete your best?
So like I said, I do trial and error with everything in my life. And before I would listen to hyping music and stuff like that. But then I realized that when I get excited, then I just go. And then I'm I over wrestle, when you have natural talent and you're super athletic, you tend to over wrestle somebody and you can lose the match because you're doing way too much when you could have just stuck to what the person was giving you, So I tested that out at the tournaments, the Spain tournament, the Poland tournament, all of these tournaments. That's why they're trained through tournaments, I use these tournaments to see what works best for me, because success doesn't happen by luck, it's repetition of something that you've done, there's something that you've done that resulted in success. So, which ultimately brings me to a point that literally I was doing the same thing every day, and I'd even do it in practice. I get hyped during the morning to wake me up, and then right before practice, I listen to the calming songs, and I felt that I wrestled better relaxed. And we were doing a lot of, right before World Championships, a lot of sports psychology. And I also realized that I did not like that, because I don't, like I said, I don't care about too much stuff in life, so I don't overthink stuff. I don't think about stuff. One of the ladies told, she was yeah, don't think about what the other person has, just wrestle your own match. And I was what? Why would I think about what they have? I was should I be worried about what she has? So then I start overthinking, and I was I can't do this. So I just stick to what's best for me.
Very interesting. That's pretty cool how you've managed to develop your own, basically mental techniques to stay at the top. Again, I would assume that everyone that competes at the level that you do kind of knows how to get into that optimal mode, and that everybody's sort of different for what it means for them. So it is interesting. Thanks for sharing your perspective on that. So this year, you won your world title at 55 kilograms. You're cut into 53, which is the Olympic weight. Olympics have been postponed a year, trials have been pushed back, everything's kind of pushed back. Does that make it even more difficult for you and, essentially adding a whole year to the cut that you have to make?
No, because I believe in myself and I know I've made 53. Like when I make 53 for the tournaments, like I made it twice this year, but that's only like on paper written down. Like I make 53 the week before, 2 weeks before. I give myself like mock weight cuts and stuff like that to know that I can do it. That's why it makes it so easy. Like me stepping on the scale at 53 is never my first time making it. I've already made it 4 times that week, like, so I know how, like I said, trial and error. I know how my body's going to wrestle. I know how I'll say Monday I need to be at 54, Tuesday I need to be at 53. And I'm going to wrestle matches at 53, just to see how I need to refuel myself, how my body reacts during this, how my body reacts with that. And I know all right, I need to ice bath more after this. I need to sauna more, I literally put my body through stuff like that, trial and error to see the perfect combination of what I need to take into a tournament like the Olympics and World Championships. So this extra year really isn't, it's actually nice because I don't have to cut any weight. It's literally just doing exactly what I was doing before, because it wasn't a cut, a cut is when you throw on plastic every single day. You're not eating. That's a cut, I live a healthy lifestyle, which I do cardio. I just don't wrestle as much anymore, but I'm still lifting and doing cardio and getting my sauna in. So it's basically doing exactly what you were doing before. So it's not a cut, it's a lifestyle change.
Gotcha. So 2018, you missed the finals, you finished fifth, match away from bringing home a medal. 2019, you're the world champ. Is there a difference in, maybe your preparation or your mentality? Because I imagine after 2018, you're extremely hungry and, want to get back at it. 2019, you hit the pinnacle of the sport. How do you focus and keep that same mentality?
Honestly, I don't overthink it. I don't think, oh, Jacarra, you're the best in the world. Nobody's going to beat you, I'm just just keep doing what you're doing. Build the best version of yourself and you'll be fine. I don't think, oh, I'm a world champion. People remind me that I'm a world champion, I don't think of myself better than anybody. Like I said, I don't put anybody on a pedestal and I don't put myself on a pedestal. I just wrestle and trust my training. So that's it.
All right, so next question. What is the best advice you've received in your career, given someone that doesn't like taking unsolicited advice?
Well, this advice was solicited. So my coach, Izzy, who is the absolute best coach, I would be nowhere without Izzy. He's the absolute best. But he told me that, which is crazy because this is literally the most simple concept. He said, all I'm asking for is for you to give this 100%. If I have to walk out on the mat and pick you up after, I will be there to pick you up and drag you off the mat because you've given your all. And it made me realize, I'm we wrestled for 2 hours in practice. He's only asking me to do 6 minutes of everything I got. There's no reason why I can't do that. So the fact that I knew that there was, and that made it a special connection between me and him, because I was Terry ain't ever told me he was going to drag me off the bat. The fact that he's I'm here for you, and all I'm asking, if you do this for me, I will be there to pick you up. Because, nobody wants to be the last person on the mat and tired and stuff like that. But you have to realize that you're going to deal with regret in your life if you come off the mat and you're not breathing hard, if you're not sweating and you lose a match. Because you're I could have done so. The worst thing is saying I could have done more, Give more. And if you still get beat, watch a video, see what it is. Clearly it's your technique or something like that, But if you lose a match because you did not give it your all, that is the worst feeling ever. And I will never go through that.
So I think this kind of segues into the next question a little bit too. When you are, knee deep in a really tough training session, and you got to dig deep and push through it. What do you turn to get it through and to keep motivating yourself?
I think of this, so I tell myself, Jacarra, what are you gonna do? Go back and lay down in the bed? Like, no, this could be time you spend making yourself great. Because like I said, even after wrestling, I want to be great at something else, like my goal in life is to be great. And I have insomnia, so I don't sleep much. So literally I just be laying there watching TV. I'm like, you're not making yourself better. At least make yourself tired, like give everything you got so that you can be happy. Because it is such a priceless thing when you look over in your corner, like, and see your coaches jumping up and down and happy, like that's more than when you look in a crowd and see everybody clapping and screaming. Like, I went to Pan Am's and there was no fans allowed, right? So it was super quiet, but only people we were hearing cheering when I qualified my weight class was Rich Bender and Cody Bickley and my coach, and that's amazing, like those are the only people that I need to hear screaming for me, because they know how hard I worked, they've seen my journey throughout this whole thing, and literally what we practiced, it worked, so that's like a priceless thing for me.
So recently you were involved in a video that featured women wrestlers from all over the world. I think Victoria Anthony was kind of behind that one. But could you talk a little bit about the video and kind of what it meant to you and why you wanted to do it?
So it meant a lot because we're women wrestlers, right? And everybody either think of women wrestling as WWE or mud wrestling, right? And I know those are like two different spectrums, but people don't know about Olympic women's wrestling. And when they do think about it, they think that we're just like super ugly, super buff, super like wild. And I will admit that the pictures that the media pick, they don't pick the best pictures of us, like we are women, we're girls, we like to be pretty, and they're gonna post a picture where I'm like, like not cool. So we finally got an opportunity to actually show people how we are, like to show people that you can be this rough girl and like super strong and confident woman, and you can also be a beautiful woman, just because like a lot of people bring us down because we're strong women, and they say like women shouldn't have muscles, women shouldn't be able to do that, but we can do both, so that's why it was so important. And just because I like being cute, literally, like anytime there's like a time to dress up, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that, because we never get to, like I'll go out to the store and I'll see like regular women, like they have like their heels on, their jeans. I probably own 2 pairs of jeans that I had since high school, and literally every day I wear sweatpants or spandex, so I never get to get dressed up. So that's why it's like super important for me.
Was it a fun video to shoot?
It was super fun. So everybody thinks that a video just like, la, 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 you drop the shoot. No, I had like 5 3-minute videos straight of me like dropping the shoe and me like, that's ugly, no. And then I would like take myself, everybody. I looked at Helen's video, like we all sent each other bloopers. We'll be like, hey, I'm Jacarra Winchester. No, that's horrible. Hey, I'm Jacarra. No, I can't do that. Like it was fun because you finally see, like, you're like, damn, literally, what is literally one simple thing? But then you're like, I want to look good, and then there's all this like stuff in it. But it is a fun process because when you finally get the good video, you're like, yes, this is it. This is gold. Send it. Because you watch it too many times and you're like, that's ugly. I gotta do it again. But it was super fun to do.
I'm glad you got to have a little fun with that. Sounds like it was fun. I know seeing the finished product was pretty cool, and definitely something a lot of people enjoyed. So this is my last question for you, and then I'll let you go. But what is your best wrestling memory to date?
I think my best wrestling memory to date would have to be for sure me winning world championships, because it wasn't just like you win, yay, go ahead. It was like you win, oh no, wait, we're gonna protest. Maybe you didn't win, but I knew that I won. So I was like, well, I know I won, so I'm just gonna be cool And then I won, and then I looked at my coach, and then Izzy and Terry, I swear, he's always so stoic, like, hey, ladies, congratulations, what we're gonna do. But I looked over and I saw him and Izzy like jumping up like little girls at a concert, like, yay! And I was like, oh. So that was my favorite memory. And then just walking out, and then Clarissa, her being there, and I was like, yay, we did it. You said I was going to be a world champion, and I didn't believe you, and then I did believe you, and then it happened. It was so awesome. So just seeing pretty much my coaches' faces when I won world championships.
Well, I'm glad that we didn't end this interview before we got your Terry Steiner impression. But thanks for joining us today, Jacarra. You definitely have a really interesting perspective. And again, it's not every day that people get to hear from a world champion. So thanks for sharing that with us. And, you know, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.